A $3 million razor wire fence separates California Correctional Women's Facility from the middle of nowhere. Its site is an agribusiness desert between Los Banos and Chowchilla, where there are 3 prisons within 30 square miles. Past the metal detector, through 2 electronic gates, under the gaze of the gun towers, there is an uncannily suburban, perfectly manicured lawn. Between the fence and the visiting room, I follow a rose-lined path surrounded by razor wire glinting in the relentless heat. This space is a counter site, intended to reinscribe the symbolic order of the space of the prison as safe, calm, domesticated. The prison is an anamorphosis, like the memento mori in Holbein's painting The Ambassadors, in which a smear or blot mars the illusion of three-dimensional space. When seen from the proper perspective, a specific location outside the space depicted in the painting, this blot or smear resolves into the image of a skull. Recognition of the blot as skull reverses one's reading of the symbolic order of the painting. The lawn and rose garden are only visible to those who come to the visiting room from the outside, an orientation that is both physical and political. Inside, beyond the visiting room, the sun-baked yards are bare, treeless. There are no roses. Outside, beyond the edge of the agri-desert, impoverished communities of color are eviscerated, and the prison industrial complex expands. Despite the razor wire border, inside and outside indetermine each other. This is apparent in the way the prison acts back on the space outside it. Anyone, prisoner or police, who enters the space of the prison moves about in a zone of indistinction between outside and inside, exception and rule, licit and illicit, public and secret.
I pray every day, every night.
Really?
I'm very religious. I'm not no, no saint, because like I say, I'm gay. I like women or whatever, but I was raised in the church and stuff, and I know that I have 3 roommates that are really into the Lord, and when they kept beating into me, and my dad is the head of a deacon of a church. My mom is the secretary of a church, and they keep beating into me. When all else fails, try God.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to end up asking them, Believe me, it's going to get hard. And it's gotten hard. And when I got in here and saw those gun towers, I was like, Lord, look at me. And my dad knew I was coming to prison the day I got busted. He knew it. Basically, God and just trying to stay strong, and just knowing that I don't want to come here is keeping me, not want to use, because I could get dope in here.
Oh yeah, I know.
But I don't want to do that. Look at my arms. That's from dope use. I can't. I have nowhere to go anyway if I was to do it. But I find a place.
I figure that somewhere along the line, we all have been pushed away in our life with our mothers and our fathers and whatever. And then as time went on, that little inch of love we didn't get. You see, we go to churches to fulfill it. We do all these things to fulfill it. When we don't get, we got home and then church. If we don't get it from church, then we find people. And usually that's where we go wrong. The moment we reach out to the people, because they're reaching out to us too. You see, because a lot of people are in this position, but we don't know that desperateness. Yeah. We never figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the women who are in battered women's situations don't figure that part out until the end. And then it's too late to bring that person back. And the men the same way. It's too late to bring that person back.
I knew I was a diabetic prior to even getting incarcerated. I was taking insulin and a pill called glyphosate. And got here, my doctor faxed over my paperwork from Kaiser Permanente, and so they knew I was a diabetic here also. They did a fasting test on me. Well, in the process of doing the fasting test occurred, got here August 5th, the fasting test occurred August 10th, okay? The following week, I had to drink this liquidy syrup. Well, needless to say is I got nauseated on it, so I vomited. Did the test after I vomited the liquid syrup up. So the test came back 106 on my sugar level, so that means I'm not a diabetic, okay? But since I threw up the liquid syrup, it wouldn't have came back accurate anyways. They got to stop giving my medication. No more insulin, no more glyphosate. So what happened was, up until this test occurred August 10th. They got the test results back no later than August 14th. So since August 14th up until, let me see, this is May 26th today, correct? So say up until, let's see, April 26th. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt a whole month here. They haven't given me no diabetic medication. Sometimes my roommates will play their radios up loud, and I get depressed.
I know my personal story, and I know you could probably find so many people like me. I mean, like, if you could just get passed to do this on the yard, you could probably find so many women, especially women, and I'm not downgrading men. Men are just physiologically, biochemically different when it comes to dealing with emotions. But you can find so many women who at one point or another, before they ever committed a crime, said help. I can think of numerous times when the cops would pick me up and take me home when I was a teenager. I said, help, I'm being abused here. At that time, now, emotional and mental abuse is so recognized. But when I was a teenager, and that was only let me see, how old am I? 14 years ago? Oh, no, I just need to stay home and bear with it. Why can't I just do what my parents tell me?
I was sentenced to 34 years to life for petty theft. I've spent over half my life within the prison system. Nothing to be proud of, but I'm not an ignorant person. I got caught up in addiction.
Okay, my name is Sandra. So now I'm stuck here for a minute. And everybody's running out their while.
So you have a life sentence?
Yes, 40 years to life.
42.
Yes.
And when would your first parole?
2042. Yes. It's crazy, huh? Like, it don't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. Maybe if they would have gave me 15, okay, the driver, somebody died, I understand, But 40 years to life, knowing that I was not the one killing, because when this happened, it was the school police coming, so they seen everything. They seen everything that happened. So, what was I supposed to do? There was somebody in the car with a gun. If I would have never.
I went backwards. I got clean and sober.
I wanted to get
The parole agent ain't gonna do it.
Prison in general is a very violent environment.
I think it's more so for women because of the unique conditions women are subjected to while in prison. In this country, despite objections from human rights groups, Amnesty International, etc., female prisons are mostly staffed by male guards. This increases the discrimination and the inequality of treatment for women. It's been well documented that this level of discrimination includes many areas up to and including rape and other sexual abuses perpetrated by COs. I think the abuses against women in prison are very often a re-victimization of the injustices, social, personal, cultural, that they have suffered prior to entering prison. Only now that they're incarcerated, the amplitude in prison is much greater. The level of hostility is just magnified.
Violence in prison is almost a daily thing. I'm kind of far from it because in my room there's no violence. In my room there's
They gave me a false diagnosis of HIV. I walked around here for 3 months thinking I had it, along with a life sentence, along with hepatitis C. And she rescued me, and I didn't.
You know, I don't care about the medication, and I'm not a drug addict. You know, I'm not going to take something that I don't think that's going to help me. You know, and what they had me on was helping the pain, you know. But they just took everybody off of them, not just me, but everybody. You know, and there's only a couple people that got put back on them, and I'm not one of them. I don't know if it's because of retaliation, because of the lawsuit, or I don't know. I have no idea. My yard doctor.
Most immediately, people can write their legislators and let them know that they're unhappy with the culture of the current CDC. We see more of that. There have been lots of legislative hearings. Gloria Romero, Senator John Vasconcellos have spoken out. But I think every legislator needs to know.
Do you want me to take you to the board with me? All right, I'll take you to the board with me. First I dress in all state clothing. Then I go up to the Board of Prison Terms room, which is down a dark corridor behind one of the program offices. In itself, it's situated away from everything else in here. They let me into the room and they lock me into a little waiting area. It's a cell, but it has a couple of chairs and a little table in it. And you wait, and you wait.
As we just said, here in CDC, the whole concept of rehabilitation, even the word rehabilitation, was taken out of their literature. So it's clearly a punishment model, and I just firmly believe the punishment model doesn't work. It's well.
If my story,
No, no. You can do your time and get out. You know, now I'm getting ready to go to paralegal school right now, correspondence school. Of course, I sent them money like 3 months ago, and they haven't sent me my books, but it's mailed out. You know, and they've taken me off my job and put me in education and comm class, which is a class for anger management, which was a blessing because they didn't know I had anger issues, and I went into this class. I figured it was a blessing to be there. But no, I feel like I'm in a battle zone, and every day I get up in the morning, you know, I'm not trying to be holier than thou, but I put on a suit of armor because I'm going to walk out into a world I don't know. See, because if a girl...
Yes, I had a lot of friends.
A lot of bonding. Women are very emotional anyways, so it's a lot of bonding that goes on. You just have to hope that, you know, the cop doesn't think you're involved in a homosexual relationship just because you're holding hands with someone, or, you know, because a lot of cops think like that because they're homophobic. But that's their trip, and it's against the rules too. You're not even literally supposed to hold someone's hand. You can't do that. You're not supposed to hug. You can't do that. Embrace one another. Kiss on the cheek even. You're not, that's against the rules in here. And it's messed up because of the women who are not getting out. Then what you're saying is for the rest of their life, they are to be deprived of affection.
Each of us is always affecting each other and our world in every relationship and in every situation. There's a saying that says you're either adding to your life or you're taking away from it, one way or another. You're not standing in the middle. And so whether we do so consciously or unconsciously is really up to us. But by the character of our presence, we profoundly affect each other and our sense of selves, of possibility, of hope, of this world that we live in. This future we are creating is ours alone, the sum total of all our actions, beliefs, and attitudes. We have a responsibility to create a better world, to leave a more hopeful legacy for future generations.
I know a little lady in our unit. She's a brittle diabetic, and I've asked her to get copies of her medical records, which she's then shown me. So I know written in her record is a blood sugar anywhere from a low of 40, which makes most people unconscious, to a high of 450. In a 24-hour period, she will have these huge swings.
If society wasn't taught to be so afraid of us, I would probably right now be on with my children, going on with my life, and trying to help them get over the loss of their father. how many women are here for protecting themselves against somebody that was violent towards them. And, you know, they change those laws and get people help instead of just slamming them away with cops that are pretty much like the people they tried to kill. A lot like the people they tried to kill. You know, that want to sit there and tell you how you're worthless. My housing staff will get on the microphone and call us has-beens, bitches, hoes, sluts. I've seen them pull somebody's hair. And this is all just funny to him. This is not necessarily malicious to be malicious, it's malicious to be funny. Yeah, who's really safe?
I've been going through a lot. I've had altercation, staff pressure the inmate to file battery on me. Pressured 3 inmates, told them if they didn't testify, they would give them 115.
It's a proposal to all the legislators, and you know, I just singly send it off to each one of them, and at first I pick people who are on the Public Safety Committee or the Budget Committee, and in there is a way to save $70 million annually by adjusting the CO positions. But
a world without prisons would cater to the babies and would nurture them and teach them manners and, you know, everything good, everything that we fantasize about, we wish we did and had when we were little, we would try and give that to those coming behind us. That's what right now in my view, that's what a world without prisons would be. A bunch of adults catering to the babies. Like a bunch of aunts and grandmothers and stuff, figures to children, a bunch of big brothers and stuff like that to our younger generation.
Sometimes the recordings end abruptly. Visitation is called for the count at 3:30 p.m. The door opens. Conversation stops. The guard comes in. I turn off the recorder and gather my things quickly. The woman I am speaking with is taken back inside. She may be forced to endure a pat search, a strip search, even a visual body cavity search, which can be performed by a male guard. It's entirely up to the guard. I try not to think about this as I walk out into the afternoon heat. It angers and disgusts me. I feel guilty and relieved. I am free to go. As I walk down the rose-lined path, I try to think about my plans for the evening. I imagine going out for a drink, shopping, a movie, pleasure, and choice. I actually started thinking about it early this morning before I left the house. I always do before a visit. In anticipation and hesitation, I recognize the refugee, the prisoner that I am. There are wild rabbits on the lawn at this time of day. They must come in from the desert. They have no difficulty passing through the $3 million razor wire fence. The electronic gates are opened for me, one after another. I pass through the metal detector and I'm outside, released. On the blacktop parking lot, the car has become a convection oven. We open the doors to let it air out, but a voice over a loudspeaker from one of the guard towers insists we move on. We speed down the farm road toward Los Banos and strip mall fast food. By the time we pull up at the Dairy Queen, a Friday night high school football game is beginning across the street. One of the legal advocates is interested in the game. Her high school played against Los Banos High. The marching band begins to play. I wonder, what sort of topological deformation makes it possible for these two spaces to exist in such proximity? Does this picture of middle-class play and complacence depend on the existence of suffering and oppression at the prison? While we stand and listen to the cheering across the street, I try to recall a quote. It was something like, "If you have come here to help, you are wasting your time. If you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then..." I can't quite remember the wording, but I know my life is bound to the lives of these women. I can't be free until they are free. None of us can really be safe until they are safe. No citizen can honestly claim their inalienable rights until all people can share in them.